I'm back. Thank you for holding space for me this morning. Like I said, I had no idea how I was going to do that because it was a first time experience for me in managing the stream and everything, dealing with that. So I really had no idea what that was going to look like. Did we made this public, right? Everyone can come back. I don't know if we're gonna have more people, but I invited everyone back. We just had Brandy Frizzell, LPC, licensed professional counselor, in the house just to answer some questions and stuff. And if you missed that, make sure to check it out. But I had to let her go, so now I am back to catch up with everyone a little bit more, as I know there had been a little bit of a struggle with getting that up and going. So, like I said, I'm very proud of myself. And I learned something new thanks to you guys. Let me know what you thought about having her here. I just thought it would be really cool for you guys to be able to hear some of this from a professional, because I always have to say up front that I am not a mental health professional. So anything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law. Anything I say is just my own experience or the experience of people that I have worked with, but I am not a mental health professional. But like I said, you can still submit those questions and I will make sure to get those over to her. But we are just going to continue. We're just going to continue our chat here. I had a really, thanks, Aaron. Aaron says you were a pro. Thank you so much. I wanted to make sure I caught up because it's very hard for me to read comments and have the conversation and everything. So I want to make sure that I spent the second hour, since it's Mental Health Awareness Month and we now have 2-hour streams for the month. I wanted to make sure that I spent this time really catching up. So if there was anything I missed, please fill me in here. Let me know. Let me know what I missed out on. It can get a little bit crazy in here sometimes. So if you absolutely want me to see your message, make sure to use that super sticker function, or I always read all of my comments if you're watching this later. So I'm watching you and I see you and I know you're there. David says more cool than when I was a guest. Well, we didn't once bring up Blue Crystal or Blue Sky. So yeah, I said Blue Sky. Probably just tagged my channel again. Double Amandas. Can you guys imagine if there were two of me? Holy crap, this world couldn't handle it. This world would go nuts with another Amanda on the loose. Oh gosh. So I know we're going to have a little bit of a smaller, intimate session now, but we're also going to have one of those tomorrow for the Patreon. It's going to be our Zoom call over there where we all get to see each other and we all get to hang out. So that's pretty cool. But I think I missed that. Yes, it's a double stream. Mormon Eternal, best day, double stream, back to back. Oh, there's Amanda McCool. There is another Amanda. Double your pleasure, double your fun. Yes, I just started singing Double Mint and gum commercials. Remember gum commercials from the 90s? I think that they were always so campy and fun. Actually, most commercials from the 90s were really campy and fun, and I miss that. I definitely miss commercials just being weird. Vincent, I was wondering why you were talking about reversed exorcism. Which Amanda would do better snaps? Metalmark 12. There you go. That's a good question. Amanda, do I need to challenge you to a snap off too? Is this going to be part of the channel now? Is Amanda just having snap offs here with different people? You're probably healthier for that. Oh gosh. Hello again. David, let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. I'm not going to try to scream growl. I just don't think that's going to work out for y'all. There's been a couple of reactions that I've done lately. One of them is set to be released here in a few days once the block is released. But it's just pretty much me going, I don't know what's going on right now, and I don't know how the human voice does this. And I don't know whether to be scared or whether to be excited. There's definitely a whole genre of music that Amanda struggles on whether to be excited about and just be awestruck about the talent, or whether to be terrified and huddle up in my blanket with it over my head and hide away. Warmest Eternal says, I just looked at my channel and noticed I hit 140 subs. Yay. We know what, an extra snaps for you today for that. So I love watching milestones. It's so awesome. I think that we actually increased in subscribers about 25% in the past few weeks, in the past month. I think that that's kind of crazy. Oh my God, someday I want to see Amanda karaoke death metal. Look, Metal Mark, I think it was, is already having to mute his microphone as Amanda sings in terribly, terribly off key for the Snap Cup song. I don't think any of y'all want to hear me trying to scream. Even when I am alone and I'm singing Linkin Park, it's more just me, Chester screaming, and I'm aggressively whispering in the corner. Looked after I updated my channel banner and went, what? Yes, I think that the channel banner actually makes a huge difference because it welcomes people. You know, it's the first thing people see a lot of the times when they come to your channel. So, Riley the Flaming Wookie Cookie. I love it. I love some of these screen names. It's great. Stella Star says, I listen to lots of kinds of music. My friend released a very important album in 1998 and it saved my life, but sadly he passed away. Well, you know what? I think that you need to go give that a listen, and you need to think about the fact that you now can share his message and his wisdom and his love with the world. And if your light goes out, then we all lose that opportunity to get to know his energy as well. Dominic says, if I wanted to request just one song, what tier would I have to select? On Patreon, it would be the higher tier, or you can do a $50 pledge here using the super chat feature, and I would be happy to do that. Just know that I am scheduled out into June right now with everything, so I would be doing that in June. His name was Chuck. The Sound of Perseverance band was called Death. I love it. The Sound of Perseverance. There's so much to that I just want to unpack. That it sounds very deep. It sounds very introspective, and I like that. Ooh, Vincent says, my news is that I had my first real psych session 29th, and it seems I'm going to have an autism test. Well, snaps to you for having that test, or for having that session, and for being willing to undergo that test. I know a lot of people that are on the spectrum, including some of my closest friends, and I think that that's amazing. I am not officially on the spectrum, but I kind of suspect that I'm on the spectrum, and you know what? I love myself and I love my friends, and I don't think that that changes us even a little bit. So I think that there can be a lot of beauty in knowing what that means for us. We know how we can best, care for ourselves. If that, a lot of times a diagnosis can, shift some of the self-care routines that we might use, or some of the things that we might engage in, so I think it's important to know as much as we can about ourselves, so that we know what skills to turn toward. Metal Mark 12 says, I can't criticize your singing since I'm no better, Amanda. Amanda's reaction to Slaughter to Prevail was amazing. Calm, calm, calm explosion. That's a pretty accurate description. Thank you. But yeah, it's so crazy just to think how sheltered I've been my whole life when it comes to music and stuff like that. I was never exposed to any bands like that or any genres like that. So it's definitely has just been very mind-blowing for me. And I hope I never lose that awe. Vincent, as that in combination with my missed things and upbringing would explain certain behavior. Yeah, I know that for myself, and I thought about making a video about this because I've never really publicly talked about it. But I know that I had a lot of things growing up that would point to something. I had sensory overload, and I still have that. I will experience sensory overload really easily. I actually, when I was in grade school, maybe this explains why I was never introduced to music like that, or why I never really explored it on my own, is because in music class in grade school, when they would do the if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, and it was just a lot of noise and kind of nonsense, I would sit on the floor and cover my ears and sometimes cry. I couldn't take it. I didn't like loud sounds and loud music and stuff. So that is one of the things that growing up, a lot of people just didn't really hold space for. And of course, that I'm the outcast and I'm the weird kid, and I just didn't like loud noise. And I learned about myself as I got older that it's okay if I am in control of it. So if I turn on music and I crank it up and I jam out, but I know I can turn it off, then I'm fine. But if I'm exposed to a sound, and especially when it happens to be at a time where my anxiety symptoms are really creeping up, if I'm exposed to a sound in that time, then it can really make it hard for me to cope. A sound that I don't enjoy, or a repetitive sound, or a very loud sound, it can make it really hard for me to cope. And I know that that's one of the red flags, so to speak, one of the criteria for being on the spectrum is sensory overload. And I can get that with visual stuff too. That's why I've been really big on decluttering, and why I have to have order in my surroundings. If I don't, it will really kick up my symptoms too. So I really just want to say I appreciate you guys so much for sharing your journeys, for sharing your struggles, for sharing your wins. People like Felony here sharing her friend's band. Is there a way that you can share some of the music with us? Is any of it online or anything? Or do you have any of it that you can share with us? I think that would be really cool. Mhm. The man, the myth, the legend says, honest opinion, what's your Linkin Park song that hits you deep? There's so many for different moods. Obviously, Breaking the Habit hits me pretty hard because that's the song that saved my life, and there's times where I just go, "Oh my god, if this song had not come on, I would not be here." And it hits on a very deep level just to think, of the reality of that. When I'm in a really dark place, Heavy is my go-to Linkin Park song, and I will just kind of shut off. Oftentimes I'll get in the shower and I'll crank it up and I'll just shut off for the most part, and try to figure out how to move through these emotions, or sometimes just let the emotions come. But I'll hold off and do that a lot. Whenever somebody passes away, One More Light is my go-to song. Crawling is my favorite Linkin Park song, and it holds a special place to me because of the implications about abuse and surviving and things like that. So different songs for different moods or different days, but hopefully that answers your question. Vot says, I just got a text from a friend of mine. He asked if I want to come over tomorrow for barbecue. That sounds, well, it sounds fun that you get to hang out with a friend. I'm happy that you get to hang out with your friend. I hope that you guys have fun, interacting like that. And again, being able to connect on that level is really important. And I hope that I hope to keep providing that on some level. And I think that finding creative ways sometimes to do that, if you do have social anxiety, or if you are struggling with just having the energy to get up and go somewhere, it's not always necessary. There's definitely less threatening ways to our shadow or to our anxiety symptoms to do that. Hi, Seth. Hi, Daniel. I'm glad all is well. He says today, you know what? That's the only thing that matters, is all being well today. Hmm. It'll be tough for me. I'll be there surrounded by his wife and the 3 daughters. I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't want to have a breakdown. Well, you know what? Here's my suggestion. And I've talked before about social gatherings, and I know Brandy and I discussed that a little bit. First and foremost, no, as she said, is a complete sentence. You're not obligated to go. You're not obligated to take part in any of these things that you don't want to. If you do, and if you think it's a good idea and it's going to help you at the moment, it's going to bring you joy, then fantastic. Don't be afraid of having a breakdown. If something about this experience really triggers your emotions, then accept that and know that you can leave. You can go to a bathroom or go outside if you start having those symptoms kick up, and take some breaths and reground yourself. Whatever the case is, go to your car and freak out if that's what you need to do. Or if there is a safe person there that you can talk to, connect to that person. Maybe tell them ahead of time, I'm really struggling right now, and I don't want to uh, I don't want to I don't want to come if me kind of having a glum day is going to affect, someone else, but usually it doesn't. And sometimes once you get there, it really shifts, one for you, that you can start to be in that moment and not, in 5,000 places in your head. But again, you don't have to go. If you do go and you start feeling comfortable, you can leave, and you can always have a safe person, whether there or by phone, to help you deal with it a little more. I think I'm going to make a video on social anxiety. Maybe I'll wait till closer to 4th of July, because I know that's another time where people get invited to a lot of events, or maybe I'll just wait till the holidays. I do have a pretty full schedule of content in the coming weeks and months. So I do think that that would be really helpful for a lot of people, though, because you're not the first person that has said that, for sure. And I know I've experienced that before, where it's just, I want to go, but I don't know how to go. But some music I would call acquired listening. Miss Felony Starter would say, "That is true. I'm gonna go with that. I'm probably gonna use that in a reaction. So listen for that." Thank you, Angelic. I appreciate you. I know, by the way, guys, I am getting a little bit, quote unquote, behind on reactions. I just wanted to let you know that a lot of them will be dropping in June. So a lot of the requests that people have been making, I will be dropping in June. I just had such a full content schedule for May because of Mental Health Awareness Month, that I wanted to make sure that we kind of planned it out a little bit. So I haven't forgotten you, and you guys still do get priority song requests as Patreons, and you do obviously get to pledge songs here if you want, but just know that I am doing my best and everything is on the list. Vot says, true, but I don't want to make him feel bad. I don't think he'll feel bad. David says, I just wanted to share my story for those that don't know. I'm 45, severe RA, rheumatoid arthritis. Since I was 15, led to depression and later anxiety, 4 joint replacement surgeries, and lots of treatments. David, I love this because you're always so active here, and I don't know that you've ever shared that here in the stream. So thank you so much for just letting everybody know where you came from, because you've come so far just in the past few months, and I'm so proud of you, and it's meant so much to watch you grow with me and with the channel. And I think there's other people here that are having that same experience, that we're growing as a community. We're all part of this, and we're all in this, and a lot of us are healing together. But it's been so amazing to watch. But I do think that you need a little validation that would be a challenge for anyone, and of course, that led to these struggles with your mental health, but you are doing so amazing now. And I often say this, that even superheroes have tragic backstories. And sure, you had this backstory and these experiences, which came out on the other side. And here you are, helping us out and being part of this community, and being the Chester for other people. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing. Odin, all my love dedicated to every woman who doesn't know what real love is. You are beautiful. I love it. There's so many songs in here. Oh, she said, here's Miss Felony Starter said, here's a song called Crystal Mountain from the album Symbolic. Chuck is credited with creating the genre of death metal in 1984. I love it. David, can you write this down for me so I can check this out later? David's kind of my note person sometimes. I really want to check this out. Vincent, another good news, of which I am really hyped, is that I found a board game that my youngest stepdaughter also really likes, and going to play that in a few, again with her. Descent Legends of Dark, even though it cost me a kidney to buy. You only need one. It's fine. She likes it. She's happy. You don't need that other kidney, right? Well, snaps to you for finding something that works to have that connection, that bond. I'm happy for you. It's really awesome. Oh gosh, Adam Edwards says, I'm late, having a seriously rough day. No worries, I'm strong. Well, even if you're strong, here is a hug. Rough days are obviously never fun, and I'm glad you can come here and you can be part of the community, and hopefully we can help. Let's lift Adam up a little bit. I think, like I said, I think this week has been heavy for a lot of people. I don't know what it is, and I've kind of dabbled in different concepts and stuff, but I've noticed that when one person gets hit with mental health, so many other people get hit at the same time. And I don't know, maybe it's the moon, maybe I don't know. But I do think that there's something to be said, that that people from all over the world getting hit at the same time really strongly isn't coincidence. And I will say, I've never been one to really follow uh, star signs and things like that, but I do think that there's a very scientific explanation behind some of the things we notice during those times. Like, I used to notice that when it was a full moon, people just tended to be more on edge and they tended to be moodier. And I don't think that this is some weird magic woo woo thing. I think that there is science behind it, and perhaps the way the it affects the tide, or perhaps there's a way it affects the gravitational pull that affects us all. But I definitely think there's something to be said for certain things like that on why we mass struggle at certain periods more than others. Because, like I said, I've known a lot of people, myself included, that really had challenges this week. Just some awesome person is saying to Bot, I'm sure he won't feel bad if you go early. He'd just be happy if you tag along, and you can always explain. I'm sure he'd understand. I agree. He's a friend after all, and friends understand. Yes, a true friend will understand. Have faith your friend will understand, Edward says. David says, I have a spare kidney if you need one, at Vincent. Seth says, both my parents are off of work today, which is nice because normally my dad gets home from work on Fridays and he drinks and my mom has work. So that's normally my Fridays are. Well, I'm glad that you get some time with the family today. I hope it's a good time. I hope that this is a positive thing that just allows you some, sounds like much needed bonding time. Vought says, that means a lot to me to see the children be painful because I don't have, but you know. Yeah, I feel you more than you know, considering I have a baby shower to go to tomorrow. And of course, a lot of you understand how that is going to be very challenging. Oh, there's a Chester in our midst. Hello, Chester Lee Spencer. I love it. Miss Delaney Starter, I want to apologize if I talk about music too much. You know, you are just fine. You can talk all you want about music. I know that it helps a lot of people, myself included. No need to ever apologize. David's right. Angelic Storm says, the trauma and abuse video you made, the music and background scenes were perfect fit for the video. Thank you. I'm really happy that that is helping some people. And I implore you guys to go watch that. I know that there's a lot of people in here that have dealt with trauma, be it recent childhood trauma or relationship trauma. A lot of us have dealt with trauma, and I wanted to make that, especially because we have this case with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard that's been all over the news and is bringing abuse and trauma back to the forefront. I just wanted to provide something for people to help them if they are struggling, because cases like that can be very triggering for people who have gone through it. And that was what inspired me to make that, was just hearing several people that I care very much about talking about how much they are struggling with hearing all of these updates and hearing these things about the case. And even if you don't watch the news, I don't watch the news, but it's still very hard to completely avoid certain things that are really being blasted out there, because if nothing else, people are talking about them or things like that. Just some awesome person. A big win for me this week I want to share is not getting in a fight when some grumpy guy wanted to pick a fight for me parking wrong because I had to unload heavy lumber by hand at a job. It was weird. That does sound weird. Snaps to you for keeping your cool. I really struggle sometimes too when people get aggressive for no reason, and then I try to remind myself we have no idea what they're going through. So picking a fight with them isn't going to help anything, you know, and being able to reflect on the fact that they might have just had something traumatic happen to them. We never know. I know that I've had to interact socially when I didn't want to. I've had to go to a store or something and interact after really traumatic things happened. And I'm probably pretty short and crabby too during those times. Or maybe something happened even further back in his life, and that's why he is like that. Psychologically, people aren't aggressive toward other people unless they're protecting themselves for some reason. So think about the fact when somebody is cutting you off in traffic or being grumpy at the store or whatever the case is, just quietly send them some love, because we have no idea what that person's going through. And it isn't right for them to take it out on you. But a lot of the times they are just putting on that mask, and it's a defense mechanism, and they're just trying to protect themselves from further trauma, because they probably experienced something in their life. So snaps to you for being able to hopefully show some compassion in that situation. You didn't pick a fight, and that's a very good thing. John Bebo says it sucks dealing with a-holes like that, like good grief. It's really weird, the things that set some people off, but like I said, I just try not to. No, I don't take it personally as much as possible, because I know that it has nothing to do with me. It's not like they're out to get me. It's just that they don't know how to cope with the feelings that they're having, and they're not processing them in a healthy way. So it's coming out as aggression. Did you know actually that anger is not a primary emotion? That anger is always secondary to something else. So when we're angry, it's because we're feeling fear, we're feeling something else. It's never the primary emotion. Anger is always a response emotion to something else. At least MMA is on. Adam Edwards says. At least Bellator MMA is on. MMA always makes me feel better. I was that way with professional wrestling growing up, so I understand. Full moon sounds like Ozzy. Bark the moon would be good. Philip Weaver, nerd knowledge here. The moon gets farther from Earth every year. I love nerd knowledge. Nerd. I'm such a nerd. I always thought it was really interesting that there is an entire diamond planet. 55 Cancri E is an entire diamond planet. And, well, it is a carbon planet that they are positive is harboring a lot of diamonds. I believe it's in the Milky Way galaxy, but I just think that that is super interesting. So there's my nerd moment for the day. John Bubba, oh, Amanda, ask anyone who has been in law enforcement, EMT, or healthcare community. They can tell full moon stories that'll make your hair stand on end. Thank you for validating my experience in this. My mom and I used to have this conversation all the time. So I was pagan when I was a teenager, so I practiced some witchcraft and stuff back in the day. And it was just, I wanted to attract abundance, or I wanted to attract certain things. I would light candles and meditate, basically do guided meditations. But my mom would come to me during certain days and go, "It's a full moon, isn't it? Because everybody is out of their freaking mind today." And I would look in my little witch's almanac and go, "Yeah, it's a full moon. I knew it. So it was a full moon." And I hadn't really cognitively thought about it until she brought it up, that I'm going, that explains why everybody's being so nuts right now, because it would just really tick up a lot of weird behavior amongst my friend circles and stuff too. Adam Edwards says solar flares can really affect mental health and heart health. Lots going on with the sun lately. I read a bit about that, and I was wanting to do a little bit more research, because I do know that solar flares can affect mental health, and I wanted to do some research on the current state and the current flares and whatnot, and see if we can find some connections. Oh, just some awesome person says, "Yeah, I'm happy. It's very rare." Well, you know what? Hold on to that. It only takes that moment of happiness for your brain to then accept this is possible. So now I have this reference point to think back on. So when I'm in that place of heightened anxiety symptoms or depression symptoms, now I realize, but I was there, but I've already overcome that. I've already been in that happy place. So I know it's attainable. And then it's just a matter of expanding it further and further. But bad days are always going to happen. And I think that that's the most tragic thing I see frequently with mental health and with people, with clients or with friends, is that somebody will go 2 weeks, and they're in recovery for certain habits or addictions, and they're doing great. And they, of course, you're really happy in the beginning because you're on this new journey. And then it starts to taper off, or something happens and they start having emotions about it. And it's, oh, well, now I'm falling back. And no, you're not falling back to the place. You're a human being having human emotions. And just because you struggle or you have a bad day or a few bad days, that doesn't mean that you're in any way digressing. It means that you're a human being having a human experience. Dejo Blue, have you done any cognitive behavioral therapy? Yes, I have. I did go through CBT. It was great for me. It taught me a lot of skills, some of which I have incorporated into the teachings I do in my Happiness Boost course, because I think it's really important. I know a lot of that, of cognitive behavioral therapy and stuff, is specific to certain disorders, just like dialectical behavioral therapy is. But I think that there are certain gems that everyone can implement to really reach the top of their own personal happiness spectrum. So there were pieces from DBT and CBT that I integrated into my course when I was teaching, or when I do teach people how to reach the top of their own personal happiness spectrum, even if they're feeling like a hot mess. If you guys want to take the free 5-day happiness boost challenge, make sure to check out the link in the description below, or in the description of any of my videos, and you can have me coming into your inbox every day for 5 days, just to give you some tips and mini challenges on how you can be moving toward your happiness potential, towards your mental health potential. Because why would anyone want that, right? Thank you again. We have another $20 pledge. Thank you. You guys are so amazing. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Angelic Storm says, a true friend will never hesitate to call you out when they see you doing something destructive, even if they think they will lose a friend. Absolutely. I've been there. I've had to really crack down, and I lost a close friend who got into meth, and she didn't understand. You said you'd always be there for me. And I said, and I will be there for you when you will be there for yourself, when you are willing to get help, or at least accept our willingness to help you, then I will be there. And I haven't talked to her in years and years because she chose that over her friends. And I couldn't just sit by and watch her self-destruct like that. And to this day, if she called me and said, you know what, I got in recovery, I want to rekindle our friendship, I would be very open and happy to doing that. But there are certain times where you have to be more concerned about the friend, or about the friend's life, than the friend's opinion of you, or their being mad or something. So yes, agreed. Oh, let's see. David, I swallow come. I'm having issues. Only a shout out will make my day. You are awesome. Oh, well, hello, I swallow come. I'm hoping that I made your day, even though I get your joke there. So very funny. Haha. We are just laughing. We are laughing so hard at your maturity here. But you know what? I'm giving you a shout out anyway, because maybe you really did need someone to make your day. Maybe you needed someone to laugh. Whatever. The funny thing about this is, by the way, is the fact that my son, my 11-year-old, guys, the other day, my freaking 11-year-old came to me and said, what was it? That it was a name like this. It was one of the weird sexual names like that. And I'm trying to think of what it was, because you know what? It's kind of funny. I still laugh at things like this, but my 11-year-old was pulling this. So that tells you everything you need to know. Jonathan Mann says, yes, you do have a great fan base. We have a great community. It makes me very happy. Very, very happy. Oh, Aaron says, I'm fortunate enough to know what your mental health project is, and this donation is totally worth it. Yes, very few people know, but we do have a special select few. Everyone over in the pack now knows, as I posted the announcement over there on Patreon, because the Patreons get to be involved before the general public. So, just another reason to maybe go check that out. All the Patreons are going to get to be involved, and they will get a sneak peek of everything before it gets announced to the general public for that mental health project. So, yes, thank you so much, Erin, for validating that this is going to change the world. And I don't say that lightly. It's going to change the world and it's going to help save a lot of people. So every single dime here that is pledged really does help go toward that. And I'm going to be posting an update here over in the community today for how much we have raised, since we're almost to the halfway point in May, how much we've raised toward our goal. So I will definitely be posting that here soon. Eric Master says, I just discovered your channel yesterday. I enjoy watching your reactions, genuine and real. You should listen to the song The Call by Matt Becken. Was this the country song that I did, guys, that I ended up having the breakdown to? I know that was The Call by Matt something, but I don't remember his last name, and I thought it was Matt Kanan or something like that. So maybe this is a different song, but is it about, Eric, is it about, in this case, it was the boy who was in the truck. If you've seen the music video, it was the boy that was in the truck and he was ready to end his life, and he ends up getting a call from a friend, and that call saved him. And then the second part is of a girl who had scheduled an abortion appointment. Are we talking about the same song? I don't know if we're talking about the same song, but if so, I did a reaction to that on the channel, and it got really deep and emotional. I would argue to say that that is probably the hardest video I've had to do, to the point of where I almost didn't post it because I was just very self-conscious about how it was going to be received. So I really am curious if you're talking about the same song or if this is totally different song and there just happens to be a song called The Call by another Matt. Midnight Cripwork says, as a person in recovery, I get what you mean, Amanda, but trust me, it's not your friend's choice. Addiction isn't a choice. Oh, I know, darling. It's really not. I am in recovery for cocaine addiction, and I've been in recovery since 2018. So I know it's not a choice. I know addiction isn't a choice. So thank you for bringing that up. And I didn't mean to make it sound like it is, but there comes a point when you either have to make the decision to get help and to start moving toward recovery, or you're going to drown. And if she would have been willing to do that, I absolutely, would have worked with her. And like I said, to this day, I would still be happy to work with her. I just couldn't watch one of my closest friends self-destruct and not have the willingness to get the help that she very obviously needed. So I am not in any way saying that addiction is a choice. I, of all people, know that it's not. When I fell hard, and it was very ugly for a very long time. But I do think that a person can heal. I do think that a person can make those decisions to move toward healing, Matthew Martin says, one of the biggest reasons I've been able to make it through 31 years of mental illness is because of my wonderful mother, father, and stepdad, and my siblings and nieces who continue to be there for me. We talked about the importance of community. It's very important to have that connection. And for some of us, it's blood family, and for some of us, it's not. But it's very important to have that connection. Cheeseball says, what happens if my dog dies? I have been there. I lost all three of my precious dogs within a year and a half of each other, and I had them for 17, 15, and 9 years. And it was very hard. And I had to, I lost a best friend, and I had to get to the point of definitely grieving in my own way, because this was my best friend. She was my family. All three of them were. Two were girls and one was a boy. They were all my family, and holding space for the emotions that come and allowing yourself to just fall apart and not listening to other people. There are people that are going to say it's just a dog, get over it. I had that too, and I just don't care. I don't need those people's opinions. Don't take advice from people that you never asked for their opinion in the first place. But finding ways to honor them, finding ways to go through those rituals and that grieving process in whatever way that works for you, and taking time It's just like any other death. A dog passing is just like any other death, just like the death of any family member. It's going to take a grieving process, and be gentle with yourself during that grieving process. Honor your best friend, and live your life to really share their love, just like a person. I give the same advice with a person, that think about the traits that we loved the most in our pets. My one dog, she really taught me patience. The other one really taught me, you know, to how to connect to people when they were hurting. Paris, she would always come over when I was crying or I was upset. She would always find me, and she'd always come over, and she'd always try to in some way just be present with me. And that's all it took, was her being present with me to help me start getting through that. Hello, hello. Oh gosh, I think we got a couple of people here again. Oh well. What cheddar? Lee Wesley says at cheese balls. What at cheese balls? What cheddar? I love how Edward's telling Vic, no pressure at all. We have your back. Yeah, no pressure. I say don't ever go to events that you don't genuinely want to go to. Jonathan Mann says, Amanda, what's up with the business suit? Wouldn't you like to know? Maybe I had some business to attend to this morning. No, actually, I was just feeling a little bit chilly. I don't know why, but I was feeling a little bit chilly today, which is ironic because Arizona's about to hit the triple digits. But I was just feeling a little bit chilly today and a little bit stylish, and figured I'd mix the two. Thank you, Midnight Crypt Works, for the love for my recovery. June 14th marks my recovery date, so we will be celebrating over here. David says, oops, on the super chat, too busy reading comments, not names. Oh, well, they got me. You know what? We all had a laugh, I'm sure. I ain't even mad. Chester Lee Spencer, one important question, Amanda. How mental health improvement? I think that there's so much to it. That's why I did the happiness boost course. Is there's so much to it. It's not just something that all of a sudden improves. There's so many different factors that you can implement that will help you start moving in the right direction to be on the top of your or higher on your own personal happiness spectrum. So if you want to check that out, like I said, the free 5-day challenge is linked below, happinessboost.life. Make sure to check that out because it does give a lot of insights, a lot of deep dive questions, a lot of mini challenges to help you improve your own mental health. Yeah, Midnight Crypt Work says, I feel you. It's so hard to see someone go through addiction, especially when you've been there. Absolutely true. Because you're just thinking, come on, we gotta do better. We gotta get you through this. You can get through this. And you want to encourage them. So you want to encourage them, but you also don't want to invalidate them. So it's a very tricky balance. And I will say that it wasn't just she started smoking meth or she started using and I just ditched her. This was a progression. She'd been progressively declining and progressively getting more and more destructive and progressively making worse and worse decisions. And I had a guy friend like this once too that was stealing from me and doing sorts of things that were affecting me and that were putting me or my son in danger. And there comes a point where you have to say, enough is enough. But it is so hard because you also know at the same time what they're going through. Have fun, Vincent. I hope to see you tomorrow on the Patreon stream. Enjoy that game. Tell us how it goes. Oh gosh, Lisa's 4 of my cats died within 3 months of each other. Do you have any advice to add to what I was saying about how you got through that? I would really like to I'd really like to make a video on that as well. Fred, bonjour Amanda, j'espère que tu vas bien. Je vais très bien. Cette semaine a été un peu difficile, mais maintenant je vais très bien. Merci. Et toi, tu vas bien? I'm going out. Oh, for some reason this keeps glitching. The chat keeps skipping around and glitching, so it's hard for me to be reading in here. I'm going out with my friends to the mall on Sunday, says, but I'm probably not going to buy anything because I just want to hang out with my friends. Mall rats, love it. Chitin or Kitten 44, speaking of addiction, I'm 3 months without watching porn. I'm so happy that I'm winning this battle. I miss watching it a lot. Well, snaps to you. I know that that can be a hard addiction as well to give up, and 3 months is huge. So congratulations on hitting that milestone. I know that you can miss it, but I hope that you are finding other things that are just as fulfilling. So awesome. Chester Lee Spencer says, Dear Amanda, can schizophrenia be healed? It can definitely be treated. And there are a lot of ways that the symptoms can be improved upon. So I guess that would depend on your perspective of healing. But I think that there can be a lot of healing done with individuals diagnosed with schizophrenia. And, not confronting mental health concerns like that, like schizophrenia or a dissociative identity disorder, is how we get Jason Voorhees. Friday the 13th, friends. I think that uh, schizophrenia and DID are probably his two diagnoses. I'm not a professional, but just based on a lot of his actions and mannerisms and symptoms, that is what I would guess based on the movies that I have watched. I think I've missed one, but yeah, triggered by childhood trauma. I have done a couple reactions in French. I taught myself. Metal Mark was asking how I know French. Aaron says, Le papillon. Yay, Aaron. Aaron spoke French today, too. That means the butterfly, by the way. Oh, c'est bon, Fred. C'est bon. Seth says, I almost had a setback yesterday, but I was able to clear my head and I went to watch TV with my mom and it helped clear my head. Good. That's awesome. That's amazing. Sometimes we do have to, just find distractions. Sometimes we have to find distractions. Sometimes we have to just sit with it. There's different skills for different times. And actually, one of the things that I offer in the Happiness Boost course is what I call my Cope Cakes recipe. And it just asks questions based on what you're feeling in that moment or what you're struggling with, and takes you down a flow chart to help you figure out which skill to use in which moments. That is one of my favorite parts of it, because sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, it might be really hard to figure out which skill to use, which coping skill to use. So I have my own Cope Cakes recipe, and then wherever you land, it will give you a list of suggestions based on your answer. Losing fur babies, John Bubba says, that's a pain that never goes away. My 9-year-old Black died in my arms, and a day goes by in the last 18 years. I don't miss her fat butt. It hurts like hell. Yep, it sure does. I lost mine in 2017 and no, 2018, 2019. And it was really, and this was right after, everything that was going on with the addiction and the suicide attempt and all of that. So it was definitely very, very, very difficult. Chester says, I have a childhood trauma. My stepmother burned my right hand with a burning spoon. How can I overcome that? And schizophrenia. I think that with childhood trauma, there's a lot that you can do to move in the right direction, in rewriting your tapes, in confronting a lot of the feelings that are coming up. But I think it's best to work with a professional, whether in person or online, to really dig to the core of what is coming up. And that's trauma is a really complicated, complex, layered situation. First and foremost, I hope you know that you didn't deserve that. And I hope you know how loved you are and how worthy of love you are. And I'm sorry that your mom didn't give that to you as you deserved. But I think that there is so much that can be done, so much healing and progress that can be made even with these traumas, if we are just willing to, like I said, talk to a professional if you feel that that's necessary, and start really digging for what limiting beliefs come up about yourself in regards to this. Because I know I was actually locked in a closet by a babysitter when I was a kid, only babysitter I ever had. Oh, hello. Christian is in here from the Ukraine. and this is his first time. Hello, hello, his or her, not sure. First time, welcome, welcome. But I think that, yeah, when it comes to that situation where I was locked in a closet, there were so many different beliefs that I didn't even consciously remember this happening. I found out about it, but I don't have memories of it happening, but it did do a lot of damage. And I had to start sitting down with myself and saying, okay, what does this make me feel? What beliefs does this instill in me? Like when I think about this happening to me, what are the first thoughts that come up about myself? And it was, okay, and this is huge, that I wasn't protected by the people that I should have been protected by. And this is true for you. You weren't protected by your mother, who were supposed to be able to trust to do that. So it can cause a lot of issues in feeling safe, in feeling the ability to trust other people. It can affect our own self worth. And when we start picking that apart and we start really saying, okay, this is the limiting belief that comes up, then we can start combating it as it comes up. So then from now on, instead of thinking, oh, well, if I couldn't even get love from my mother, then I don't deserve it from anyone. It's no, I deserve love all along. And she wasn't able to give that to me, but that doesn't mean that I don't deserve it. I deserve love. So whenever those negative beliefs start coming up, to start combating them actively. And it takes time, but I think it's a really big part of healing. Max Mayhem, nobody asked, but I've taken a New Year's resolution to watch as many anime as possible. I've been watching more than 20 anime with dedication in the first 5 months. Holy crap, Bleach being one of them. That is definitely dedication. Fred says, I quit smoking 16 years ago when my wife told me, if you want children, you stop, otherwise we won't. So I quit thanks to her. Désolé pour mon anglais. Oh, tu parles très bien anglais. But my mom actually had a c'était similaire pour ma mère parce que elle buvait beaucoup d'alcool et mon papa lui disait tu ne peux pas continuer comme ça si tu veux être avec moi. So yeah, I just said that it was very similar for everybody else. It's very similar for me that or not for me, but for my parents, because my mom she drank a lot of alcohol, and my dad said, I can't be with you if you want to continue doing that. And she quit. So Lee says, when I first had my mental problems as a teenager, I was told to try different things for once. So I started to learn French, German, and Spanish, as well as learn to play music. I actually wrote an article. I wrote 2 articles for different language learning websites. One was specifically French, one was a language learning website, about how it affected my mental health. It had a very positive effect on my mental health, shockingly, when I started learning that. Je te plumerai. Alouette. Alouette, gentille alouette. Alouette, je te plumerai. Yes, I'm not just randomly singing. S posted that here. My mom used to sing this song to me as a child. I never knew what it meant as a kid, but I do remember hearing it. Now I know, and I went, oh, cool. Now I can understand. All you can do is honor the memory by passing that love on to another fur baby, like the food bowl that kept them fed. Let an animal that is hungry eat from it. I agree with that. Passing on that love. Edward has to run. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you for coming. We have a few minutes left here as we are winding down. We have a couple minutes. So if you have any last questions or any last pledges you want to make toward that big mental health project, you can do that by using the super sticker, super chat function here. Like I said, as we wind down in those last couple minutes, let me know. Fred, I hope you're not laughing at me, by the way. I hope dearly you're not laughing at me for my French. But make sure you get those in before we all sign off here and get back into our days. It's kind of funny because Bryston, my son, had been telling me all week that today was his last day of school. So I had planned that today was his last day of school, and then find out that no, next Friday is his last day of school. And went, oh my gosh, kid. And I just hadn't verified it, I'd forgotten and I didn't verify it. Oh my gosh, Reign of Terror. Question: do you think that medication should be the go-to treatment method as it is today in the medical treatment model of treatment? No, I do not. I think that in in severe situations where it's very clear that there are several disorders that are having very intense symptoms that involve hallucinations, violent outbursts, things like that, I do think that in many of those cases, medication should be the first line of defense. But when it comes to someone's having symptoms of anxiety or symptoms of depression, that there are so many things that affect that, and we should, I think in cases like that, unless someone is straight out of danger to themselves, I kind of think medication should be the last line of defense when it's just coming to a lot of these things. So I appreciate that question because I do think that it is very much the first line of defense, and it shouldn't be in most cases. Antidepressants and stuff are very much overprescribed in this country, and I don't like that either. I keep Mark says, I keep telling my daughter-in-law that she should not say they. I think he's talking about her kids. They are a pain in her ass. It's detrimental. I told them to tell her the feeling is mutual. Miss Felony Starter says, thank you for everything. Next month I can buy a shirt. You know what, ma'am? I expect a picture of you in that shirt next month. So I need you to promise me you're gonna send me a picture in that shirt. Okay? I need that promise here. A Kitten 44 says, question, I'm surprised that Ghost by Badflower has not been reacted to. Did I miss it, or is it on the backlog? It is on the backlog. We haven't had a Patreon request for it, and Patrons do get priority song requests, one of the perks. So we have not had that on the Patreon or here in the stream. You can also request songs by pledging $50 or more using the super chat feature. So yeah, we just haven't had it requested. So it is on the backlog. It is on the master list. I have I think it's a 15 page master list now, but we just haven't had anyone that gets priority request it yet. So hopefully I have seen a lot of requests for it. So hopefully it will get on there soon, because you guys have me curious now. Y'all have me curious. Bye, Thought. I hope that you have a good and safe day too, and thank you for being here. Headsick Nation says, Rain, as a schizophrenic, medication is my best way to get treatment. 1 pill a day, yep, helps me get better myself, and I found the right medication, which is also very important if you are turning to medication, or if medication is the best treatment option for you, which in many cases it very much can be the best treatment option for people. I'm glad that you found that. I think that finding the right medication is important as well. Miss Phil, no pictures, but just for me. I won't post it, I promise. I won't post it for the community. Yes, Chester, I very much think you're going to make it, because I can't lose another Chester in my life. So you are going to make it, and we are here to help you. So just make sure you're connecting here in the community. Okay, bye, Felony. Just make sure you're here connecting in the community. Yes, Metal Mark, the last day of the month will be the announcement for the big mental health project, and then I will officially announce the release date and everything. So, yes. George! Hi, George! I know David asked this earlier, but I didn't see a response to it. Has anyone seen Rick James lately? I've been very worried about him. He hasn't been here on the chats, and we haven't been able to get a hold of him. He's one of our regular community members and a veteran, so I've just been very worried about him. So if anyone sees him in the comments, please make sure to bring that to my attention so I see it quickly. Like I said, obviously I do read all of my comments, but somebody please bring that to my attention, because I am a little backlogged in comments since there's so much content this month. But I'm happy you jumped in, even if it was at the end, George. I'm glad to see your name. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. George, I hope you can watch our playback here, and yep, we're all taken off. So have an awesome day. Thank you for joining me for double streams today, double fun. But let me know if you have any questions you want me to send over to Chester says, guys, is there anyone here who's open to WhatsApp chat? If anyone is open to that, I don't have WhatsApp, but please make sure to support Chester. Chester, if you reach out to David, his email will be in the description of this video. He can also invite you into the Discord that has a lot of our regulars here, so you will have other people to talk to. So David, can you make sure that that gets that gets sent to Chester Lee Spencer here. But yes, if you have any questions for Brandy, please make sure that you leave those in the comments or that you send those to me. I hope that you enjoyed the little extra something special today. I hope you had fun. I hope that your vibes are sky high, and I will see you soon. Mwah.